Neurosis album only reminds me of many years ago during the earliest days of this channel, talking about Through Silver and Blood, and really the way in which that music really felt as though it was the background of an apocalypse, the background of the end of days. So whenever we talk about fires within fires, whenever we talk about this brand new Neurosis in 2016, one that has underwent many different changes to their sound, many different changes to their identity, that have continued to provide inspiration for countless generations of bands that aim to want to take post-metal or art metal, whatever you wish to really call it, to a brand new level. It makes you wonder whenever you sit here about to encounter this 5-track album, what they have for us next. Is there anything more that they can really deliver? And really, they can continue to deliver solid music until the day that they die, and that would be perfectly alright, considering Neurosis is that style of band that constantly wants to innovate a little bit, constantly wants to take things to a brand new, weird place. And with this album, it almost feels like they are reflecting upon 30 years, they're reflecting upon their career, they are really combining some of the different elements that they have been able to accumulate throughout the years, throughout the decades, really, and what it actually delivers is a pretty solid album, one that is kind of a nice fitting introductory course into what Neurosis is all about. Now, the aforementioned Through Silver and Blood is something that you hear very cautiously within Bending Light. It doesn't have sort of that same element of harshness to the point where it feels almost unwelcome. However, this is one that showcases that heavier side, that more dense layered side, the one that can easily stop and start in a heartbeat, and you're not too sure which direction it's going to go, but there's a good chance that harshness is going to follow. Moving into a Shadow Memory, which is a little bit more of a real foray into what you got from the 2000s side, a little bit more of a post-metal-esque approach that has a little bit more cleanliness to it, a little bit more polish along the way. It's definitely not one that's trying to jump you with harshness. It's not one that's trying to assault you overall with just direct destruction. It's instead one that handles things with a little bit more real passive behavior, one that's a little bit more tactful, cerebral in its motions. Now, whenever you get into Fire is the End Lesson and Broken Ground, you start to hear some of the softer moments seep in, but not actually take hold. There's no grounding whenever these take hold. It's instead ones that are just minor chords that are thrown in to really add a little bit of depth, to add a little layer, to serve as transition, to serve as bridges, whatever it may be. But it's all to set up Reach. It's all to set up the very final track on this album, Reach, which is track 5, nearly 10 and a half minutes, in fact a little bit more than 10 and a half minutes in length, and this is the song that is really the one that will turn you on your head. You know, the past 4 tracks we've encountered mainly harsh rhythms, one that will, you know, really shimmer as some as post-metal, as art metal, or really whenever it comes to Broken Ground, really feels like a doom or stoner anthem that is just been put forth by a band that has perhaps influenced some of the very bands that this would perhaps emanate. But with Reach, most of this track, most of this 10 and a half minutes is of the softer register. Most of this track is of the softer harmony. It has a lot more of a crawl to it, a lot more actual beauty to it by comparison to its 4 predecessors, that it's almost like trying to restore the balance of the entire album between harsh and soft in one track, trying to really do what 30 minutes before did in roughly 8, because it does eventually amplify itself up, it does eventually deliver harshness in its final fifth, but it's still a song that its power is certainly within its mystery, its softness, its beautiful register. You know, these are vocals that are able to vary between those very distant and very anguished yells and yelps to a very soft register as well. Everything accommodates where the music goes. The music itself sets the backdrop. It really sets the scene. It even is able to display accurately and articulately the mood. So this is an album that, in spite of it really showcasing this history, as a result doesn't feel tremendously original, and it doesn't really have to be. This is really what I would consider to be average to above average material that's been placed together to really give a Neurosis fan a nice sort of nod to where they've been and where they are going. If there's somebody that perhaps wants to hear some of the elements of what Neurosis is all about, but is afraid to take that opening leap into one of their albums, this actually would be a pretty good introduction, because it does add enough elements from multiple sides of this band's repertoire to really gain a real sense of what Neurosis is all about, while also kind of understanding where they're going from here. And that's the fact that they can use what they have already learned and what they have already manifested in order to manifest new things. Essentially, you create the elements, and then you use the elements to create new elements. Amazing how that works, isn't it? This is an album that really, its memory is in the fact that it feels complete whenever it comes to Neurosis' history. It's an 85 out of 100 album. If you're expecting Through Silver and Blood or one of those powerful moments from their past, this is not it, but it is still a damn solid album. Definitely still worth the investigation, and this is a band that will continue to, sort of on the underground, continue to be one of the most important that heavy metal has ever seen. Even though to some, they may not even be considered to be a metal band, which sounds absolutely absurd to me. But I've heard the argument, and I disagree with it. If I want to know what you think about this brand new Neurosis album, Fires Within Fires, let me know in the comments below. My name is CoverKillerNation, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.